What it costs, I hit the ground then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground then it go off, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah. I don't even know what it costs, yeah. I hit the ground then it go off, yeah. Hit the ground then it go off, yeah, yeah. Run it, ooh. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year.
All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Mr. Israel, JC, Steve, Alfonso. What's going on today? How are we doing in chat? We're all good? Good. We have Todd Sohn on the show today. So excited to talk to Todd. Always a pleasure. I hope we'll have Kenny Glick back today. I know he was out yesterday. Hope he's back today. Also, we should have Patrick Dunawilla join us as well. Some things on the radar. Google on my radar. Hershey on my radar. Oracle on my radar. And we'll see what's on Steve and JC's radar. How about that? Also, I have a funny story. Last night I did a thing, and maybe we'll talk about that. It was I did a YOLO-y type thing last night, so unlike me. Anyway, smash the like. Here we go.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Fantastic.
Nice little Tuesday. I was talking with who was I talking to? Was it Alfonso or Louis? No, I was talking to Louis yesterday. Louis in New Zealand. He's like, I was telling him about my trip to Disney coming up, and he's like, "You Americans really know how to party." He's like, "Oh, so you're gonna go on a nice little vacation, huh?" I'm like, Louis, I have 3 kids. It's the furthest thing from a vacation.
Yeah,
Taking 3 children to Disney World.
Disney's tough.
We call them trips, not vacations. Trips.
When do you leave?
I leave Friday.
Why are you doxing yourself?
But it's a hell of a workout. I'll drop 5-6 pounds on that trip.
Yeah.
Because you're just walking around and sweat. Well, no, it's not going to be hot.
No, it's not going to be hot. That's why we go in December.
Oh, yeah.
It's like after Thanksgiving. Because around Thanksgiving, they do all these like cheerleading tournaments. It's like a disaster. It's the worst place to be in November. And then it's like that hangover post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas. So it's a good little window to go.
It's going to be crowded, though. Really crowded.
No. That's the point. That's why we go this week, you know?
You figured it out. You figured out Disney.
You know, you once you start getting into the dad clubs, you start talking to other dads with older kids.
Yeah, but other dads talk to me about their Disney strategies, and you don't
listen. It goes in one ear, out the other, because you don't care.
I don't need it yet. I'll call him one day and be like, "What's that thing you told me about Disney?" But this is a conversation dads have. I know that. You're right.
That's right. And then like Steve Weitzel is like,
yes,
shout out Stephen Weitzel. He is like Mr. Disney. He's like, you got to get the bob. And you got to get this and this. And dude, was he right about the bob. If you guys shout out the bob, you guys know about the bob, you know what a great stroller, especially for Disney, where you need all this shit and kids for days.
They're like Disney insiders. The Whites.
They are Disney insiders, but he's got older kids. He's been doing this longer. This is year 2 for me. So, and I think I got it pretty down, actually.
That's good. So are you guys planning? Are you gonna be like an every year Disney family? Because like, are the boys gonna remember?
Yeah, we go.
They are? Okay.
Yeah. We'll go once a year for now, and then eventually start taking them to Europe and Hawaii and Tokyo. You know, Morgan wants to take the kids to Italy for her 40th, so that'll be cool.
That'd be nice.
All right. Yeah. That's what I got. Shout out to the Bob. If you know, you know.
JC's not a fan of cruises, Andrew.
Yeah, but the Disney cruise I hear is awesome. Not gonna lie. Other dads tell me it's great. Even the cruise, even normal people that don't like cruises, they say that one's acceptable. So
all right, wow. Shout out Disney.
Shout out Disney. I'm long.
Hey, speaking of Disney came up in conversation yesterday in chart talk, because Disney had this pattern, which I called the blue chip mega fail top. And we see it all the time. These battered blue chip stocks, right? These massive distribution patterns, and they look so scary. But 9 out of 10 times they don't complete. These are quality names, Dow stocks, right? We see them all the time. Have you seen a little Pfizer or Merck lately?
You're saying, are you saying samesies?
I mean, dude, zoom out on the Pfizer.
Yeah.
Like,
Why don't we
zoom
do a
out
little
like
state of
10
the
years.
markets? Let's get to it.
Yeah, all right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Dow futures down 20 basis points. That's about 90 points to the downside for the
Wow.
Dow futures. You got S&P futures flat, 60,066. NASDAQ 100 futures up 10 bips, about 21 handles, 21,500 for the NASDAQ. 30-year bond futures down 0.33%, just under 119. Crude oil down almost 0.33% at 68. Copper down 0.2%, 4.25. Gold down 50 basis points. Just under 2,700. You got silver down 0.33%, 32.5, with the volatility index up, back above 14. And then over in funny money land, you got Bitcoin. Interesting action over the last 24 hours or so in Bitcoin. Hanging in there, 97,650. Pretty flat on the day. Ethereum kind of flat, just under 3,700. Solana down 1.5%, 213. Binance really got hammered, 685. Down almost a full percent. Total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel down to 3.37 trillion, with the Bitcoin dominance back above 57%. Boy, was that fast. How do we feel about the futures this morning?
For crypto, I feel that Solana never got it done, and now Binance is going failed breaky. So you have no confirmation for the breakout in Bitcoin at this point. That stands out. For futures, I'm thinking about overseas markets, right? China had a big run yesterday. That's great seeing them get back on board. Do you remember when we talked about those failed tops in Europe? Speaking of failed top, big on the failed tops this morning. Remember that? We were talking about it on an analyst meeting not long ago. The Fez, the VGK. I have a chart here. Those went failed top. Totally. Nice bounce off the lows. So seeing these international markets hang on, right? Because they didn't trade like the United States did following the election. They actually got hit a little bit, and there was some damage there. So developed markets overseas, not just China, really digging in here, looking good. I think that's encouraging.
On the crypto front, throw up that slide too there. That's an interesting one. So over the past 24 hours, $1.7 billion in futures positions were liquidated across all tokens. And just to give you guys some numbers, Bitcoin declined by 3.7% yesterday, while the average altcoin experienced more than a 15% drop for the average altcoin. Just an FYI.
Yeah.
Big difference there.
The alts were getting slaughtered yesterday and last night. What do you think about what I said about the big three?
No, I mean, I'm with you. Like, you haven't gotten those confirmations yet. Ethereum, obviously, nowhere near it. Solana got closed. Binance failed. You know, I don't think it's over. I think it's probably more of a false start than a failed breakout.
I think some of these altcoins running 300, 400, 500% in a matter of weeks. The whole space needs to cool off. The fact that Solana didn't jump in and really participate in the post-election rally is a little bit concerning.
Throw up slide 3, because this speaks to the lack of concern that I have for this sort of behavior. Remember, this sort of volatility is a feature of crypto, not a bug, right? So keep that in mind. And yesterday, my friend, you had high beta closing at new 20-week highs relative to low volatility. So when you talk about sector rotation,
doesn't this fly in the face of your weak tech narrative?
No, it reiterates the rotation into tech.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm not bearish technology, quite the opposite. I've just been pointing out the underperformance, which is a big reason why high beta hasn't broken out above the prior cycle's highs relative to low volatility, because of the underperformance in tech and discretionary until recently. This ratio held up better than other techie ratios. So.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's probably true. So you're looking at 52% technology in high beta versus only 8% in low volatility, and you're looking at 14% discretionary relative to just 6% in consumer discretionary. Also, a lot of financials in the low volatility, a lot of utilities as well, a lot of consumer staples, something to keep in mind. A lot of industrials in both. So it's kind of a wash there. So the big one here for me is technology and consumer discretionary. So
like
the amount of financial Strazza that are in the low volatility index are part of this underperformance because you got all those financials in the denominator. So keep that in mind. So this is more of a tech story and consumer discretionary secondary. But new 20-week highs. So if we're getting rotation into tech, and by the way, it's a bull market. So to bet against rotation in tech is probably tough. And if we get a breakout in high beta versus low volatility, these tech stocks are probably flying. How's crypto doing?
bang.
Is that a mic drop?
To the right.
Like that?
Yeah. It's interesting the way that crypto dislocated from equities, though. It's almost like they pass it back and
Shout
forth.
out Stephen Weitzel.
Yeah, Weitzel's in the chat. He heard us talking about him.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Bob.
Were your ears ringing?
What's up, Bob? BTC 150K. Love seeing that in the
Bob
chat.
is such an underrated stroller. Like, I think you guys are like laughing. Like, what's this guy talking about? Dude, trust me. Weitzel nailed it.
Yeah, Kenneth makes a good point. Solana rallied after the election, but it didn't do what I would have guessed it did. If you told me Bitcoin's blasting through 100, I'm saying Solana's at new highs.
Yeah.
Didn't rally like the others. Definitely didn't lead. Thought we probably would have looked back and said, yeah, the election was the catalyst for that breakout. So that wasn't the case. That's all I'm saying.
Throw up the real. Lil sis loved the shout outs yesterday.
Yeah.
She thought it was funny that I called her trips to Switzerland watch school.
Yeah, it's great.
She thought that was funny. What else am I supposed to call it? Like, she goes over there and learns about watches. Isn't that watch school?
So we've been talking about the real so much. I must have Googled it the other day when I wrote a post about it. Now I'm getting the advertisements on my YouTube TV. Are you guys getting the ads yet? No?
I don't do that kind
Not
of
yet.
shopping. That's my wife. But my wife doesn't shop on Real. She shops on the Revolve.
Yeah, Revolve is so Real is the luxury resale.
It's like consignment, right? Luxury consignment.
And Revolve is not consignment. It's
No,
like
Revolve
women's
is just
designer,
deals and steals, as my wife would put it.
unlike women's designer brands.
Seems like it's not such a good deal for me.
But they sell bags and stuff too.
They're stealing from me.
Are they selling like bags and stuff too, or is it just clothing?
I don't know the answer to that, but I think she buys like clothes. You know what she told me? Because we were talking about this yesterday. Because I was like, oh, we've been talking about it on the morning show. Blah blah blah. We got to get you on. And she says that what's great about Revolve is that when you need something last minute, which apparently is like a problem that she runs into.
Yeah,
that never happens to me. I got plenty of clothes. So what she says, when she's in a jam and she needs something fast, she can get it in 48 hours through Revolve.
wow.
I don't have that kind of urgency. Like, I got plenty of clothes. Like, if I can't, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand these women.
I can't get anything in 48 hours.
Well, she says that if you're in a jam, which apparently she's in jams, it's a thing.
If you're ever in a jam for some women's designer clothing.
Shout out to Lil Sis. Lil Sis not only has been hodling,
Totally.
she's been accumulating as well.
Wow.
She fed the ducks a little on the way up, held the rest on the way down, but has been buying and hodling. So she took offense to the fact that I said she wasn't sophisticated enough to trade around her position.
Wow.
She said that she was catching strays.
She's buying that base, baby.
Yeah. I don't know how many times she's looked at the chart. So she's asking me, she's like, are you going to tell me when to, or she says, should I sell? How high is it going to go? I'm like, you understand that if I knew the answer to this question,
I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I think it probably goes to retest the highs. Lil Sis, if you're listening, right? Strazza, would you agree? Retest the highs?
Probably. I'm not going to, I took a quarter of my position off yesterday. Yeah. I'm a big duck feeder.
Yeah. Big duck feeder. Who was saying yesterday, starve the ducks?
I love that.
That was great, right?
So
Who was that? Was that Dawson? Sounds like something Dawson would say.
Probably French.
I guess. You don't starve the ducks. You gorge them.
You
they
stuff
gorge
them.
themselves.
Yeah.
They're just doing weird stuff to ducks out there. I don't know.
You're not doing weird stuff to ducks. You're feeding the crap out of them so that their stomachs get really full, and then you chop their heads off and you eat them. It's a beautiful thing. Isn't it nice being at the top of the food chain? Little foie gras action. Woo. little duck, little moose, little duck liver moose. Ho, ho, ho. Vegetarians hate that shit.
I got my steaks order on the way. Is that a great Christmas present or what? I was thinking. Just
What?
send people some steaks.
Send people steaks, yeah.
Right? That's what I'm doing this year.
Is that why you were asking me the other day about the Wagyus?
Yeah, I was at I wanted to know what's the best one to order from, really. So I tried.
Proud cow.
I didn't try that one yet. I tried the ones I was telling you about. That my buddy told me, Alpine something. There's a bunch of them. I mean, this is a great way to get meats. Who goes to the butcher anymore? I don't even have a butcher, but do you even need a butcher?
Yes.
If you have one, you should go.
Yeah, I have a great butcher, dude. I have a great butcher.
Man, that sounds cool.
Okay, I got something.
I got something. You want to hear about my foray into YOLO land?
Yeah, please.
So this is actually pretty funny. So this morning, before we started, I was talking to Alfonso. I said, Fonz, I bought my first meme coin last night. And he goes, oh, what'd you buy? And I went, no, you wouldn't have heard of it.
You bought Fartcoin, didn't you?
No. I go, no, you wouldn't have heard of it. And he goes,
you buy the Luigi, you sick fuck.
And he goes, was it Luigi?
Did you?
Yes.
You bought the Luigi? This is the first. Can I just talk about this for a second? This is the first time in my life.
Yes.
That because usually I'm just like, war in the Middle East, buy oil. I don't care.
It's so sick.
Like I have like no shame at all. This is the first time in my entire life, true story, that I'm like, I can't buy this. This is so sick. There's something wrong about this.
It's so sick.
I've never said that in my life.
Yeah.
And then here we are, and Spencer's buying it. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
You're a bad person.
You're a sick fuck, Spencer.
I just want to say, shout out to my little brother. Some of you have met him. I have gotten a flood of text messages this morning, jokes about how my brother looks just like the UNH shooter.
Oh.
So we're all having a good time about that.
Hold on. Like, do you think it's wrong for me to think that it's wrong to buy? Because I was kind of like I was like kind of going back and forth. Like, who cares, JC? It's just letters and math, like you always say. And I'm like, I know, but this guy literally just killed the CEO.
No, it's totally okay to like take a moral stand and say, I'm not going to buy that.
But I usually don't. In fact,
I know.
In fact, I never have
a line
because I don't care. But this time I took a moral stance, and I don't know whether to be ashamed of myself or be ashamed of you. I don't know.
I think you're going down a dark path doing that. Yeah, I don't think that's good. We had this conversation the other day. You weren't on the show. Somebody yelled at me on Twitter. They said, Steve, I thought that you were against the GameStop guy tweeting this stuff. I'm like, yeah, it makes a joke out of capital markets. I think it's terrible. I don't think it should be allowed. And he's like, so how are you long? I'm like, I don't understand the question. How are these two things related at all? I think that's crazy. He shouldn't be able to sit here and tweet pictures of him sitting up in a chair that moves stocks 50%.
See, I think he should.
No, that's
he's not doing anything wrong.
That's pathetic. It's
pathetic, maybe, but he's not doing anything wrong.
Childish.
It's childish, maybe. Fine. Childish, pathetic, but in America, we have a freedom of speech. And if somebody wants to post a video of a cartoon leaning up in a chair, they should have the right to do that. And to prevent them from doing that is going down a slippery slope of communism.
I don't think so. I think there have to be some rules here. And on top of it, though, my bigger point was, yeah, I'm long calls. If I could anticipate something like that coming, I might not think it's good or shouldn't be allowed. But what do you mean? Like I shouldn't try to profit from it if I see it coming?
Somebody in the chat saying that JC is in the wrong on this one. JG1 saying in the wrong. I think I'm in the wrong too. So I'm agreeing with you. Like I don't think that I should. I
don't think you're in the wrong. Actually, I think it's okay.
Coin.
As long as you don't.
I think that I'm being too sensitive. I think I should have just bought the goddamn coin.
As long as you don't take it too far. There, like ESG took it way too far, right? Like as long as you don't take it.
For better or for worse, I didn't do it. I didn't buy it.
As long as you don't take it that far.
Can we move on because this is sickening.
Okay.
Can we just throw up how the Magnificent Seven versus the equally weighted S&P 500, right? X Magnificent Seven making new all-time highs. So that rotation into consumer discretionary and tech, considering in the Magnificent Seven, you've got Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, all tech stocks. Then you've got in the discretionary, you've got Amazon and Tesla. So that's 5 of the Magnificent Seven are just consumer discretionary and tech. Big rotation happening there. You're seeing in high beta. It's the same story, Strazza? Same thing as we were looking at before, you think?
Yeah, dude. I think it's also it's they're just chasing these stocks into year end again. Same thing we saw the last 2 years. I think you're going to see that.
That's what it is, or you don't, or you think that it's a bull market, and in bull markets, sectors rotate.
Look at December of the last 2 years. I think there's something here that has to do with window dressing, because the relative trends just blast.
I mean, for what it's worth, there was a headline yesterday that Google unveiled their new quantum computing chip, which propelled. Right?
I heard they're gonna mine the rest of the $110 billion in Bitcoin because it's so fast. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, allegedly, right? I thought that was gonna take like a long time to do. But yeah,
above my pay grade.
No, it's above mine too. But that was the headline, and that gets quantum computing is one of those things where people kind of forget about it, but once a year, every 10 months, it gets people all excited again, right? Oh,
if you're going to do an IPO, that's what you want to do. You want to just make sure that the words quantum and or AI, if you can get both AI and quantum in the name of your company, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like everybody's over blockchain.
Oh yeah,
throw up slide 2. I thought this was an interesting
blockchain. What's that?
The old blockchain chain. So this is slide 2. I thought this was interesting. We were talking about it yesterday in the morning show. I was debating with Mr. Phil Perlman about whether all the money we've been making over the past month, and I know we're not alone, has anything to do with the election and Bitcoin. And Strazza and I both agree that it's part of it. So I threw it out to Twitter. I felt this was a fair poll. There are a lot of people making a lot of money over the past month. I know I'm not alone. Deals are getting done. Offers are being made. Stocks and crypto are ripping. Market breadth keeps expanding. We're all seeing it. Why do you think this is? Is it because the election is over? Is it because it's a Republican sweep? Is it both, or is it neither? And over 75% of respondents said that it is related to the election.
I believe there have been, go ask the CFOs of the companies who just did these mergers. I believe there have been 3 big mergers since the election. I don't know how many big mergers there were all year before that.
Not many.
But deal making is getting done. That's absolutely right, JC. Go talk to the CFOs of these companies. They have these CFO surveys too, which are great. But you're going to see it. You're going to see it in the economic data.
Dude, my phone has been. You guys know the meetings that I'm in. My phone has not stopped ringing. I can't get any work done because so many people are trying to do deals.
Yep.
You guys know.
We're seeing it in public markets too.
Yeah. And I'm not alone.
I'm surprised at the results of this poll.
You think that many people think 75% of respondents think that it's election related? You think that's too high?
I think a lot of people refuse to admit what it really is.
What is it really?
It's the election. Anybody with a brain knows.
That's what they're saying is 75%. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's not high enough.
75% of respondents say that it's election related, and you're saying it's not high enough?
Dude, 1 out of every 4 is saying it's neither. That's crazy. That's like, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I think that the market is confirming what you and I are saying. I don't know I think your expectations of humanity are way too high. Like your bar for humanity is like you need to lower your remember the psychopaths that are in this world and that have the time to vote on arbitrary polls online. Like let's also remember.
Right. But I'm talking about people like that. Right. Rachel. Exactly. Thank you. I think this is crazy. And like any survey, you get people saying
Rachel
what they
says
wish.
Neither. You saying that she's crazy?
Yeah. You get people saying
wow, Strazza hating on Rachel. Hating on Rachel.
I love her. Listen, Perlman's crazy too. I tell Perlman all the time. But he's Perlman's invested in the politics.
You should see what Rachel and Perlman say about you.
Right, which is fine. But some people get really invested in the politics and they'll answer a survey based on what they wish was reality rather than what actually is reality. That's all.
No, you saw it with the conspiracy theories on the poly market. Anybody who's telling you it was 4 guys manipulating it behind the scenes were just saying that because they weren't happy with what poly market was suggesting. So they were hoping it was just 4 guys manipulating it behind the scenes. But you saw that, right?
And here's the thing too. We said it the other day. A lot of people today probably like Trump a lot more than they did before the election.
I guess. What are you more interested in? Who the president is or like the thickness of your wallet? I'll take the latter all day.
You get those account statements and you see the number go up and
yes,
maybe this guy's not so
bad.
Helps.
It helps a lot when the market is going up, for sure. that is a big tailwind for presidencies, right, and for everyone.
Do we have Kenny on the show today or no?
We do have Kenny on the show today.
Well, why don't you bring him in?
Sure.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they tug it. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Oh.
Cheers, boys.
Hey. Whoa. Where'd Steve go?
What's up, Kenny?
I don't know. We're talking to the Phantom. Where'd he go?
What's up, Mr. Kenny Glick?
Nothing. I have nothing to add today. What's up? I'm a blank slate. What are we doing?
Well, we're seeing rotation into technology. We're seeing rotation into consumer discretionary. Earnings season is non-existent right now, right? I mean, there's still a few trickling in.
Yeah, I don't mind when there's only one or two to choose from. Just since like the Dick's Day, when that was just the only one to focus on, it was good. But yeah, I'm more concerned about what we witnessed yesterday. Again, I was shout out to my dad's doing all right. Had a hernia surgery, Big Al, that had taken him off the pickleball courts for a couple of weeks. But just watching from afar,
Is it a hip? Is it a knee?
No, it was a hernia.
It's a hernia. I was born with a hernia. Fun fact.
He played for 2 weeks with it because he's a trooper. So I would never know the guy's in pain, but he's a trooper. I would never know. I mean, again, back to that morning, I'm sitting in the hospital at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting prepped for this thing. And, all those stocks we've been talking about were up another 20, 30% in the pre-market. And I'm talking to some stranger in the waiting room. I'm like, I'm going to dump all these stocks. And he said, I don't understand English. And I said, all right, cool.
I'm talking to a stranger in the waiting room.
And just so someone to talk to, right? So, so I put the alert out. I told it about the email. When there's that irrational exuberance has been awesome lately, but again, there's got to be a time to cash out of these names. And yesterday was probably from afar one of the top 20 days I think of trading of the year because of what the action provided. Lots of blow off top action, the Palantir, the PayPal, the Qs, the quantum stocks, just a lot of action. So again, this continues to be my favorite market I've ever seen, and I've lived through most of this, the .coms and all that stuff. So, I'm just looking forward to the action again, as always.
Are you looking to fade some rips today? Are you looking to buy some dips or just stock specific?
Well, you know what? Because the dip was so dramatic yesterday on the quantum stocks, I'm going to have to look at those for some buyers. The SOUN, another one I know you guys are on that. The Lunar also. That whole sector all went yesterday together. I'm more concerned about what we saw in PayPal finally get the breakout above 90, yet gives it back again. I really hate that action. But again, the market is a rotating beast right now, and they rotated into the Chinese names. It was more of a gap and go. So I'm going to look at those. The Tigers, that's my Chinese stock. I like to go to that one, TIGR. Pretty liquid, pretty active, pretty cheap. Has very, very liquid options as well. And of course, Alibaba. So I'll take a look at that. But back to the. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Oracle has some news, right? Because I'll look at that.
They had earnings,
right? Yeah. And there's always a crazy one. Benzi today is the one that's flying. BNZI. This has been a high flyer once before. Again, there's always something coming off the scanner. I love myself some scanners.
How many scanners does one need?
All you need is the 2 scanners. The 2 scanners that I have, it trumps all the scanners.
Some people have a new scanner once a week, new scanner, right?
I am Scan Man. Same scanner from 1997. Still works today. Could you believe it?
Yeah, we call it different things.
Yeah. I'll invent a new one to sell you in a couple of weeks. But I'm in. The best part about what we do each morning is that we know there's something. We know there's going to be something to do, and you could just relax and wait for it to come to you. There's been so much activity, and again, if yesterday wasn't a good day for you, please come to the chat room. I mean, yesterday was the day traders' Christmas. Blow off top reversals are possibly my favorite trade. As a bearish kind of guy, I look for the profit taking. I've been trapped in this bull market, again, perpetual bull market. But yesterday's action was so significant. That Palantir move was epic. So if you've sat out this bull market over the last 3 months, yesterday was the day you were waiting for. Hopefully you were ready for it and profited from it.
All right.
Consumer, technology, high beta, arky, junky, all of the above. That's
Yeah.
where my head is at. If
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has anything to do with going to space or whatever this quantum computing is, it sounds very fancy. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best sector to be in. There are cheap ones, there are expensive ones. These stocks are pretty damn liquid and pretty exciting to trade. But I did have one more comment about yesterday and what I saw on Friday going into Monday. I'm not a fan of buying stocks on a Friday, looking for the overhaul for the hold over the weekend. But when you have something called pinning, my friends, there were some stocks that were on the verge of busting out, like the PayPal above the 90 specifically, and the JMIA where they were playing with it on Friday. And there was a couple of ideas out there. A lot of times when you get to those strike prices on a Friday, they just pin it to that strike price and everybody loses. If you're a call buyer or a put buyer, it doesn't matter. They just sits there. But then they have the gap and go Monday where all that pent up energy gets released from the Friday pinning. And that's what we saw on PayPal. And that's why it was a little disappointing for my PayPal fans out there who've been in the stock with me for a while to give back that we finally got above that 90 with some gusto, and then we gave it all back. But the idea was that we bought some more on Friday looking for the gap. We got it. And, again, we're sitting pretty. I'm lightening up on all these swing trades. I still got some of these quantum names. But, man, I'm going back to cash, and I'm just ready to rock because it's just continuously active and phenomenal day trading right now.
All right. I love it. I like the uncorrelated aspect of it. What Kenny's doing on a mean reverting nature intraday is the exact opposite of what we're doing directionally on an intermediate or long-term basis. And, if you've studied Ray Dalio's Holy Grail chart, you know how valuable a strategy like that could be. So that's right up my alley.
Right on,
Shout out
buddy.
Ray Dalio. Sorry for standing you up the other day, bud. I'll make it up
All
to
right.
you.
Hitthebit.com. See you
All
there.
right, guys. I'll see you there. Be careful with this Benzie.
Adios.
Sounds like a car. Benzie.
Yeah. Can we throw up one more chart before we bring on Todd Sohn here?
Yeah.
And then we'll bring him on. I want him to talk about it. We're looking at what are we looking at? 6 consecutive days that the S&P 500 has more decliners than advancers. Last time we saw that seemed like a good buying opportunity. Grant ran the numbers. Doesn't seem like the end of the world. Seems like rotation. These technology stocks, these mega caps did really, really well in the face of a market where 6 consecutive days you've had more decliners than advancers. Very curious to hear what Mr. Todd Sohn has to say. So I wanted to tee that up. Shall we, Mr. Spencer?
Yes. Also, I'm going to drop the link to get the email where this chart was found this morning. It's our newest daily note from Grant. I'll drop the link in the chat right now. But let's bring Todd on.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Mr. Todd Sohn, how are you, my friend?
Hey there. How we doing?
It's a bull market. I don't
Still
know if you heard.
Still a bull market.
So not a bear market rally like I had been told for so long?
It might still be.
Might still be a bear market rally. Out of curiosity, for the bear market rally contingent, how does one quantify when it is no longer a bear market rally? How does that work exactly? Do you just stop talking about it and hope people forget?
You wait until the bear market arrives for the next one.
Got it.
12
And
out
then
of
once the bear
last-
market is over, then it's a new bear market rally after that.
It's another bear market rally.
Got
12 out of the last 2 recessions.
That's right. Can we throw up this chart? I want to hear your thoughts on the on these shenanigans taking place underneath the surface, getting rotation into those mega caps. Spencer Israel, thank you, sir. 6 consecutive days might seem like a lot to the folks these days. Is it a lot? Does it matter? Is it just sector rotation? What's happening here, Todd?
Hey, I think the 6. I'm surprised it's not higher actually historically, especially like in 2020 maybe. I don't know. I think you have a lot of masking what's going on to an extent, right? The big cap names have come back, and Mag 7, whatnot. And you have some internal consolidation going on after really strong 12 to 24 months. Do I think it's a fatal problem? No, I think it's just some internal consolidation going on. I think the biggest risk into 2025 is just sentiment, and maybe that this is an early preview of that, right? That you're seeing some money being taken off from certain corners that got really overstretched. But that doesn't mean bear market. I think it just means speed bump, perhaps into the first quarter. Right?
Does that what that means? Speed bump?
To me, I like it. I'm a fan, right? I don't think it's unreasonable to get a pretty good shakeout just based on some of the sentiment data we have. Whether you look at flows, which have skyrocketed, survey data getting a little bit more bullish, anecdotal observations clearly popping up more and more. I don't think it's a stretch to say we get something larger than a 10% shakeout, right? Is that unreasonable? No, I think it's a good reset. But it's still a bull market. It's still risk on for now.
Talk to me about this rotation. Throw up the high beta, low volatility ratio there, because that one's interesting to me because I think it tells a story about what's happening. Then we'll get to some of your charts. I know you got some good ones.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm seeing is we had all this underperformance from consumer discretionary, and that turned recently. You had you've seen the underperformance from tech. That seems to be potentially starting to change. It seems like the high beta, low volatility ratio is essentially that, with financials as a large component of the denominator, kind of like making that more egregious. But curious to hear your thoughts on all this.
So high beta is I looked at this before. I thought it was interesting that super micro is the largest weight in there.
Yeah, because they just got added to the S&P 500.
Yeah.
And high beta is probably an understatement for SMCI.
Yeah, it's higher beta.
Much high, the highest beta.
And then I thought
literally by definition is the highest beta.
It's basically that and MicroStrategy, right? So that helps.
MicroStrategy is not in the S&P 500.
No.
SMCI is.
Yes, I don't know, which I don't understand.
That's another conversation.
That's another thing. I actually thought Staples was going to be larger and low vol, but maybe with a rebalance that it's like the third or fourth largest weight now after financials and some.
Yeah, a lot of utilities in there.
Utes are in there, right? That's to be expected, I think, to an extent. But so you have software coming back. Semis, I don't know. We'll see. But this matches up with what discretionary is doing versus the market and versus Staples. It's matched up with the industrial still being strong. And you can make the case for financials there too. It's all these risk relationships are still really strong. Stocks versus bonds. There's no problems there either. So I have no qualms with the leadership in the market. My only qualm is that things got very overbought, which is always good, but you can get tactically stretched, and sentiment. But it also, you have to just make sure you know what's going on within high beta. High beta used to be a lot of semis, and I think that's starting to transform a little bit, but it's still very much tech. Until I see Staples really actually outperform, and maybe even healthcare, it's offense is on the field. There's been no bid for Staples at all, and you have credit spreads at 30-year lows, which I don't know what that means, if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You're saying it could be a bad thing because it's too low, and how much lower can it go?
How tight is too tight? I do not know.
If anybody would know, I feel like you would. So if you don't know,
I don't know. High yield is at 260 basis points or something like that. Which, okay, yeah, tight spreads, low vol, not as in leadership, but as in there's not a lot of volatility in the market, is bullish. It's a characteristic of a bull market.
And the VIX is at 14. It could stay down here forever. It can go to 10.
The bar mitzvah VIX is great. We love a bar mitzvah VIX.
So tell me more about a bar mitzvah VIX.
The bar mitzvah VIX is just things are calm. It's not complacency.
For us Gentiles, can you explain?
Bar mitzvah. When you turn 13, you have a bar mitzvah here in the Jewish culture. That's the VIX is at 13. All right, it's becoming a man. But don't fear a low VIX. That's a characteristic of a bull market. Of course, the train will eventually stop, and so yeah, you can have some protection on it if you wanted to. But
a bar mitzvah VIX. First time I hear that one.
The tight spreads, the low VIX, these are all characteristics of a bull market. It just eventually, again, I use this word speed bump. You can hit that and you get a little mean reversion. Things shake out for a little bit, kind of like last October. S&P ran higher into the summer. Things got a little bit stretched and maybe a little frothy, whatever word you want to use. We corrected 10%. We've been straight up since. I feel like that's the same kind of playbook.
You brought some charts. You have been known to put together a good chart or two. There's a reason. There's a reason why Todd Sohn is a fan favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Todd Sohn. You brought some charts. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Why don't you tell us what is which one stands out the most to you? Where do you want to start?
I think Europe is interesting. I would not overweight Europe relative to the US. That's
all right. So we're looking at the Bloomberg Europe Index relative to the rest of the world.
Europe is awful compared to the rest of the world.
But doesn't everybody know that?
We know that, right? There's no change there. But if you look at the MSCI ACWI ETF, the US is now about 70% of that, plus Canada. Shout out to Canada, which is probably arguably the second best market in the world, right? And so if you're just trying to diversify, Europe's now down to 14% of that index. It's basically been cut in half since 2009. And so if you own global equities, if you own the S&P 500, if you own large cap growth, you own a lot of Microsoft, Apple, and NVIDIA. Right? So that's just my only worry there. It's okay. So I paired it off. Awful Europe performance. It's been thrown. The towel's been thrown. There's been a lot of outflows from Europe. On the next page there. And ETF issuers are not launching European products anymore. There's only been one new Europe ETF in the last 6 years. They just don't know what to do with it.
There's only been one new Europe ETF in the last 6 years?
Now, the caveat is, okay, there's been plenty of international ETFs, which are going to be Europe, Canada, Japan, China, right? All the mixing pot. But they cannot think of a new thing for European equities, a new spin on it, which I think is pretty interesting, right? The only one that was launched in 2023 was a luxury goods ETF, which is going to buy like Hermes and LVMH and stuff like that. So I just take all these little breadcrumbs, and it makes for an interesting case for Europe for maybe buying some that the sentiment's really bad, the economic data is terrible, you have government, uproar, whatever's going on over there. I don't read too much into that stuff. And it makes me wonder, like, okay, maybe there'll be a little surprise for Europe in 2025. I don't know if that means go out and buy the Euro stocks, or I love the idea of just playing it more active, right? Find those winning stocks, like the financials, the insurance names have been really good. The industrials in Europe have been pretty incredible for the most part, and they get overlooked. So if I'm just saying, all right, I'm a little uncomfortable with my large cap growth exposure. If I'm running a portfolio, then maybe I look international to Europe. I think that's the case there. How much worse can it get, right? Especially for the European luxury names, because those have been beaten down, arguably because of what's going on in China. Who knows? And the autos too. If those start to go, that's a big boost for European equities as well.
And LVMH, nice big bounce off those Thanksgiving lows.
Not a great chart, but digging in, right? Trying to put in some sort of low here. Same thing with.
But when you zoom out, can you really argue that it's not a great chart?
Well, I guess over the 30 years, yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying since the last cycle, it's messy.
Yeah, like last 3 to 5 years, it's been a little messy. So that is interesting to me. And then, what else? So that's my Europe thought. And if you get mean reversion here in the US, by the way, I think it's capital goods and financial services that are most at risk. I took a look at the momentum ETFs, the breakdown there.
Yeah.
Because people love those products, right? Momentum, that's us.
Yeah.
Those are at risk. But if you're looking for a proxy instead of momentum for this administration, it's ARK, ARKW.
Yeah, so you were in the green room before, and you were saying that Trump 2.0 equals ARKW.
Yeah. Okay. So ARKK is the one that gets all the attention because it's the flagship.
So this is slide 21.
If I'm bouncing around, reel me back in.
Yeah, it's okay. All good. I'm way worse.
Okay, well, so this is the flows number one. I love this chart. It's just flows to ARK's actively managed equity ETFs since their peak, and the fund itself, ARKK, and the other ones have done pretty well over the last year, especially since the election. But I think a lot of folks have just moved on. They got so burned by this thing over the last couple of years that they're saying, forget it. We'll go on to crypto. We'll go on to leverage single stocks, all that stuff. But I think you need to look beyond ARKK. If you look at ARKW,
go to the other one.
It holds Bitcoin, It holds Tesla. It holds crypto derivatives like Robinhood and Coinbase.
So it holds Bitcoin itself, or has the ETF?
Yeah.
How does that
And
work?
Bitcoin ETF. Bitcoin has the ARK Bitcoin ETF, which is it tracks Bitcoin for all
Pull up
intents
the
and
chart.
purposes.
Pull up the chart.
It's one of the holdings, yeah. And then it has stuff like Palantir, which I think security is going to be important for this administration, right? I don't know, try to leave the politics out, but it makes sense. And so if I'm looking to play something from that ARK, don't look at ARKK, look at ARKW. I think this is the one that really makes sense. It gets overlooked. This thing is and it's ripped too, by the way. It's certainly overstretched. But if you're looking to play
Put
this
up-
administration,
Can you
that's your
guys put
thing,
up
this is
the
the move.
ARKW? Who's controlling these slides? Come on, guys.
Hey, Todd Sohn.
Spencer, can you guys put up the goddamn chart? What's the problem?
Who's ignoring it, Todd? I don't. Who's ignoring? Who's ignoring?
When I look at the flow data, right?
Yeah,
I know
No,
you're not.
I'm totally with you. This was the first one that completed a reversal of
Yeah.
the ARK funds, and to me, it's software more than anything. This is a
Yeah.
part of this surge in software over the past month or so.
I guess it's but it's not your traditional like Microsoft, right?
No,
It's
it's the little guys, which are the ones you want right now, right?
yeah. I mean, they have this rubric in there, RBRK.
Yeah, I saw. There's
New issue, security, software security, whatever you want to call it. That's been really strong too. So I think that's an interesting way to get around if you're trying to play Trump 2.0, or if you want to move away from Mag 7 type stuff. Or,
Are there other small cap software funds? There aren't any.
It's funny. There's IGV, that's the big one that everyone follows, cap weight, and then there's XSW, that's equally weighted.
Right.
So that'll have a small cap tilt, but there's not many other. There's 7 semiconductor ETFs now. There's only 2 software.
Do you find why is that? Because software, I would argue, they're just as good as stocks.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think because everyone just assumes it's Microsoft, and what else am I missing there? Like Oracle or something like that.
The startups in this industry group are as good as any in the market.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not a small cap. There's small cap tech, but I'm surprised there's not a more focused small cap software fund that's out there. And you could make a case that's kind of what ARK is, but it has a lot of other junk in there too.
I think it would be the closest to that.
Right? Yes.
Todd, why are you saying that the ARKW is so Trump 2.0? Are you saying that's because those are the names that have been working, or is there something longer term there?
Because it's the crypto thing, which they're clearly.
Can you throw up the table?
It's crypto, it's Musk.
Yep.
And
you're right.
Security. Because they're not like Palantir is clearly. I don't know what's going on there.
Palantir is a huge Trump stock.
Right. Like I think of Trump and I think like we will bomb you. You know what I mean?
Listen, stuff like what happened in the city with the UNH CEO the other day, tragic, but that's something that you look to Palantir and say, can't you guys help with this? Like that's what they do.
So Palantir, and then I think that rubric is I don't know if it's not the same vein, but it's also in security.
How about speculative growth? Like there's an interest rate theme here. Is there not? Like when I look at the bottom half of this list, I think, okay, what's the bond market doing? This is speculative growth. This is non-profitable tech. In many cases, some of them are very profitable, like shout out Spotify. But do you think about interest rates at all?
I think the idea is, okay, if you're cutting, you buy ARK, right? You buy low interest rates. I wonder if the market kind of moved on from that.
Yeah.
Like we did the whole hiking cycle thing, and now we're just in I don't know if you want to call it higher for longer, but some sort of normalized rate environment. And these companies have adjusted.
Yeah. Right.
And now they're viewing it more as we have this new administration that's going to let the floodgates open for crypto and all this other deregulation. That's the bigger story rather than if you get rates to if the 10-year goes to 7%, then that might come back to hurt them.
And there's also this theme now, right? So I like where your head's at. As long as it's not higher, these companies are okay.
Yeah, I think if rates stay in this big range they've been in, they're okay.
Yes.
If you all of a sudden get a massive spike, like a 2021, then that becomes a problem.
Sure.
But I think that's a problem for more than just ARK. That's a problem for the most of the market too.
I agree.
Right.
But
There's
for
much
now,
other adjustment. Yeah. For now, you just keep going.
Say rates remain range bound. It's almost like the market's moved on from the rate situation to price these companies, and it's more about economic growth. Like now, there's this narrative that the second wave of AI winners will be the small software companies that build cool stuff with the chips that they bought from NVIDIA, the early winners.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, right? And they get bought out or something like that.
Cool, man.
I don't know. I mean, NVIDIA expectations are super high. Maybe going through some sort of I don't know, little top here, perhaps. We'll see. Wouldn't want to fight it, but I'm fully aware that one's slowing down.
How about the rest of semiconductors?
I mean, Broadcom is okay, TSM is okay, but then it gets messy.
Yeah.
And I don't. This is when I get uncomfortable, when it's like, these things have been correcting for what, 5 months now,
Yep.
and they've had a good
August,
shakeout.
July.
Right. 4 or 5 months. They've had a good shakeout. Are they coming back onto the field, and I'm about to miss the move, or is it just a big head fake? And these is when I get so uncomfortable with areas like that.
Do we have the failed top chart? I would love to show that to Todd. If we have the semis relative chart, could throw that up. But in general,
everyone should look at semi ETFs and what the NVIDIA exposure is, by the way, because it goes from 24 to like 4.
But so would you say you want it or you don't want it right now? I think you don't want it, right? It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. I don't want 0, but I don't know if I want 11% either. You know,
with all
SMH is going to be heavy NVIDIA
for sure. Yeah, but with all the other Mag 7s working, you look at a chart of Apple, you see what Microsoft's doing, you saw what Meta did, Amazon's working, like
Tesla. Yeah,
is NVIDIA just going to roll over and die here? Like
exactly. If 5 or 6 out of those 7 names are working,
I know.
Is one really going to sit it out? That's really hard,
right?
And it's entirely possible Mag 7 has started to outperform the X Mag 7 again.
Yeah, I saw that,
which might drive people nuts.
Yeah,
because, as long as the other names are still going up, but they may not just be leadership. But that means those names are going to get bigger.
Do you look at that, like the sentiment around the Mag 7s, like this was the only game in town, and think like this ARK W or this speculative growth trade or the small cap tech trade has legs because those people who are really still in on the Mag 7 become incremental buyers? Or am I thinking too hard?
Of small caps?
Like, do small caps get chased eventually if we keep seeing, or not even small caps, the speculative growth stuff?
Yeah, I would imagine they should, if they're not yet, which I don't think they are.
I don't think it's kind of early.
I think it's still too early.
Still pretty fresh reversals in these indexes.
Yeah, I mean, small caps even make a new high yet. The Russell 2000 over November 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like a new closing high. I don't know if it has. I don't think small caps have hit a new high since November 2021. Maybe I'm wrong.
Russell looks like it's going to break out, though.
Oh yeah, I think it will. That's a biotech thing, though. That's banks and stuff like that. So I think small caps. I think there'll be a big chase if they start to, like we saw last month, right after the election. There will be a pretty good chase after that.
That could be next year's Santa Claus rally, chasing the small caps.
Todd, something before you run, something that you mentioned before about how people are going to freak out because these things are getting even bigger. Is there a problem, inherent problem with the biggest companies getting bigger, or is it just bigger companies are getting bigger and there are other things happening in this market, and that doesn't necessarily mean that a crash is coming?
No, it does not. There's nothing to do with a crash. This just means you're more reliant on those names.
I know, but Horny Monkey 69420 is telling me that the crash is coming because these companies are too big.
How did you find my burner? Okay. I think the most interesting thing out is that you now have index providers having to change the methodology of their indices. So S&P Dow Jones did it with the tech sector. FTSE Russell's doing it with their style indices. So the market is saying these rules were not built for trillion-dollar companies, and we have to now change it.
Isn't that okay? That's okay.
It's okay. I think it's just amazing that it's happening. Right? I mean, some of these rules are like 80 years old, so of course they had to adjust them, and they kind of just made them up anyway. Like 5 companies over 50% of stocks, right? Can't
No,
5
not
companies?
this one. Not this one. The next one.
5 companies can't be larger than 50% of an index. Like why would we make that up? I don't know. Who made those rules? The
Yeah, so
only
this
thing
is
you
the
should
one.
be
This is the one that Horny Monkey is telling me that the market's going to crash because of this. Granted, for the record, they've been telling me this for years. So
yeah, I think
it's not great for timing, apparently.
I think it's I think you just have to realize how much of an individual name you might own. If
Yeah.
you are, if you know, I mean, you and I, the 3 of us, the 4 of us, we all look at this stuff every day. If I'm like a casual investor and I own the S&P and large cap growth and I own a crap load of the same names, yeah, that's been great for now. But at some point, it may become a problem. But this goes back to the whole starters and bench thing that you and I like to talk about. The starters are doing what they're supposed to do. These names are getting bigger, they're leading, and then as long as the bench, the equal weight S&P 500, small caps participates, you're okay. But I just think it's fascinating because the market is a voting mechanism, so it keeps voting in favor of these stocks.
Also, the number of companies in this group keeps expanding. I know we're talking about top 10 is pretty.
Yeah,
People
they're
talk about
cherry
that, but
picking numbers here. But go to the
Yeah,
next
10,
one.
yeah.
He was
well,
telling me.
first there was 4 companies, then it was 5,
Yeah,
then it was 7,
yeah.
now it's 10.
Inevitably, they'll change.
Right.
You know which one steps in and which one steps out. I mean, could you make the case it's Lilly, right? Lilly came up on this weight drug. If people start to say, you know what, this is not a great thing, maybe we should alter that out, and then maybe it's Broadcom that steps in. Now this is like this chart is super interesting, and then what I was kind of getting at with Europe here.
What's interesting about this?
It's
Todd?
just it's statistically unbelievably extreme, but that doesn't mean I'm going to overweight Europe, right? I'm aware of it. I'm aware of concentration risk, but until something changes, like, you know, you can't fight it.
I mean, this has been extended now for 12, over a decade.
Years. Like these charts would make for a great textbook on market psychology. You know what I mean? Like that's staying with these trends for the long run is can be extremely difficult to do, depending on your exposure. But it just shows to show you how markets can keep going and going and going at a statistical extreme.
Throw up the semis relative again. Harminder brings up a great question. Can we ask Todd if semis versus S&P 500 falls? What's his opinion? What's his opinion on the bull market?
I think
if this completes. Is that mean bull
so?
Market
You're
canceled?
saying if semis go down further.
If this top completes, bull market canceled?
No, I don't think it's canceled. It's just morphing. If I start to see discretionary versus staples go down along with this, then I'm kind of hitting that cancel button.
Got it. So this wouldn't be in the incredibly bullish camp,
yeah,
but
exactly.
It wouldn't be in the bull market canceled.
It's one input in a thought process, and it would be a pretty good red light. I mean, semis are super cyclical. They can go up 50%, down 50%. If I see this go down, if I see staples outperforming the market and discretionary, and I see credit spreads widening, bull market is on pause, canceled, whatever you want to call it.
So you think that credit spreads, consumer staples on a relative basis, way more important than semis on a relative basis?
Same page.
Same page. You would put semis on a relative basis equivalent.
Because you know why I think they kind of go together in a way. If semis are deteriorating,
well, you're saying that it's bearish if they go together. If they don't, it's not. So they can't be on the same page.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if I'm making a checklist, these are the things I'm checking off to get the bull market.
We make those here, by the way. I don't know. Are you a checklist guy?
Yeah, we got some checklists and what I don't know. We got all sorts of lists here.
We got way too many checklists.
We got a lot of scans.
We got a checklist of checklists.
So I don't love seeing semis go down because semis. I think we've talked about this before. Semis a decade ago were 2% of the S&P 500. Now they're 10 or 11%. So they're immensely important to the index. So of course I don't want to see them deteriorating. And then it's all about pairing it off with the rest of the checklist. Our staples outperforming, our industrials underperforming, discretionary, right? Stuff like that. If it's a mix, then that's what it is. It's just a mix. Doesn't mean the semis can still go up. They just might not be leadership. That's the other key part here.
So it was a decade ago. It was only 2%. I can't believe it's so low.
Yeah, it's crazy. Nvidia was microscopic in the index. Broadcom was microscopic in the S&P 500. And this goes back to the whole voting mechanism, and that the S&P is this kind of living, breathing index that's always changing.
Last thing, Todd. What's one thing that we're not talking about that's kind of on your radar that you're paying attention to in this market that's being understated?
Understated. Gosh.
Rates and dollar, just a hot mess.
Rates, dollar. I mean, oil looks the worst out of them, but it's still range bound, and I'm fine with that. I have zero interest in that stuff. Like, of course, I want to know what the direction is ultimately going to be, but it's just noise, and it's been noise.
But it's been noise because it's been in a sideways mess. So there's not really a direction there. So
there's nothing. There's exactly, like, it's almost like ignore the noise. Silver, gold, still hanging in there, and we're on to China doing the thing again. The volatility there has not disappointed, and I would expect more of it, whether that market continues to go up or down. I don't know if
I love what you're saying there. China doing the thing again.
Yeah.
The thing again means not going down. That's what you mean more specifically?
The stimulus.
And then do you just flip the book long China? I mean, we didn't flip the book long China. We put on 4 trades. They all doubled. So things are going well over here on our end. But let's just say that you're not in it. You got a little bit of a pullback today after yesterday's ripper. Do you buy this pullback in China right here, right now? Not to put you on the spot, but I need an answer.
If you enjoy stomach-inducing volatility, be my guest.
Well, position sizing cures all.
True. Yeah, just do it smartly.
YOLO responsibly is what he's
suggesting. YOLO responsibly. I just know China is so volatile. It's just beyond me. But yeah, I mean, everyone hates that market, right? And there was a big surge in flows a month or two ago. Everyone got very optimistic on it, and then that kind of went away. So it's still very much skeptical. So I think I don't think you see sentiment really turn on China until the market's up like 100%. It's like, we have a new China.
I'm gonna ask you the most important question. Best bagel in Manhattan.
Ooh.
Manhattan, not this Long Island bullshit or Westchester, New Jersey.
I live in Manhattan. I don't screw with the Long Island.
But you know a lot of Long Island people. You know how they are.
I'm not like JB.
You know how they are. They go in Manhattan, but they're on Long Island. It's the most ridiculous shit.
I like Tompkins Square.
Tompkins Square.
I like Tompkins Square bagels.
Okay.
And there's a new joint.
Be further from where you live, but I appreciate it.
I know. I'll make a trip down every once in a while. I like this new joint. I don't even know if it's how new it is. Liberty Bagels.
Where?
There's one on it's a weird location. It's near the Plaza, 5th Ave, 59th Street. There's a few of them around the city. Pretty good.
Liberty Bagel. And what's your order?
I'll just do a plain bagel or an everything bagel with a little cream cheese. I don't do a lot of bagels though.
No, I know. You're one of these fit guys.
My kid gets the rainbow bagel.
My kid got they like the rainbow.
But if I go to Tompkins Square, actually, I will go with the decadent, birthday cake cream cheese.
Birthday cake cream cheese? What's in that?
Decadent. I don't even know. It's delicious.
Wow, that's very aggressive. Birthday cake cream cheese.
It's damn good. It is so good.
Wow.
You go out and take a nap after it though.
Right, naturally.
I mean, what else is there? Black seeds, all right. And your other typical stuff.
You call them black seeds? Don't we call them poppies?
Black seed. No, black seed's the chain.
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, bagels. That's my bagel spot. But I don't do bagels that often.
I feel like I never do bagels at all because I don't I don't have a Jewish community where I live. It's really terrible. The bagels
gotta-
here are unedible. They're so bad. They're unedible. And then, like, I'll go back and I'll get an Essa or a Tao bagels, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
I mean,
these are
you
perfect.
can't go wrong with Essa bagel.
Are you an Essa or a Tao?
If I had to choose Essa, yeah, Essa.
I used to live across the street from Tao, so, but they're all great.
How
All right.
appetizing? That sign.
I gotta get me some good bagels. It's unacceptable what's happening out here. It's
I
ridiculous.
can bring you some next time I swing by.
Yeah, because you got good ones in Jersey,
I
right?
got some okay ones. Yeah.
All right.
Jersey.
All right, Mr. Todd Sohn, always a fan favorite. I appreciate you, my man.
I appreciate you guys. I hope this was helpful for everybody.
Always,
we had
always
a
good
lot of
time.
random stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's all right. We finished with the most important conversation. Where to get a good bagel around here?
I got more than that. Ramen, also ramen. Don't forget ramen.
Ramen bagels?
No, but that sounds good. We should do that.
Ramen noodles.
Yeah, start a ramen bagel.
Ramen bagel fusion.
Love it.
Right? Like a Japanese Jewish fusion cuisine.
Oh, well, there's Shalom Japan in Brooklyn.
Is there really?
Oh, dude. We should everyone in the chat, let's go.
Dude, me and Rachel went to a kosher omakase, Rachel, remember we went to kosher omakase? That was cool. It was pretty good.
Shalom Japan in Brooklyn. Matzo ball ramen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Matzo ball ramen. My head is exploding right now.
That could never work. It would never work.
I swear, but I've been there in years, but it's great.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Yako. Thanks, Todd. Go buy some Solana meme tokens. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the ETF, and I'm going to get it.
The meme token ETF. All right.
No, Solana, not the meme token. The Harry Potter Obama thing. Yeah.
They're both coming. Get ready. And you'll be putting charts together about it. So I look forward to talking about it.
Of course.
The dog with hat ETF.
Dog with hat. The crazy ones you show me.
Little Harry Potter. Little
Harry
Peanut
Potter,
Squirrel.
Harry Potter Obama.
Pepe the Frog.
All those.
Yeah. How can you not? Line go up.
Yeah.
Adios, Todd.
All right. See you,
See
Zed.
ya. Fun fact, I didn't realize semis were down to 2% of the S&P 500. I didn't realize it got that low. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. I mean, semis, it wasn't a thing, right? Semis weren't a thing until I remember, we've talked about this before. I remember AMD at $1, right? I mean,
What a hot piece of garbage. So I put out a note, tweet yesterday. It's like, oh, any good shorts out there? What are you guys shorting? AMD came up a lot. The underperformance of AMD really, really stands out. Clearly, it's caught on. Everybody seems to agree.
Yeah, that's it's funny because
Is Todd Sohn the favorite guest that we have on, you think?
I don't want to call anyone a favorite.
Ari Wald gets a lot of love.
A
lot of people get a lot of love, I suppose.
We have a lot of favorites. But he's
Todd
one
of my favorites. How about that?
He's one of the very few that we have on a regular basis, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, so he's on another level.
I wanted to talk about Hershey real fast. I know we have a chart of Hershey. Another report yesterday from I think it was Bloomberg that Mondelez is sniffing around. This is not the first time that Mondelez has made an offer for Hershey. They've done this on a number of occasions going back. I remember in 2016 they made an offer at like 110 per share, I think. And then it's happened since then, and it happened before then as well. From what I remember about this from back in the day, Hershey's is complicated because there's like a trust in Hershey, Pennsylvania that like has control of the company or the board or something, and they have to approve it. And Hershey, the company is very tied to Hershey, the town. And so any deal would have to like guarantee that certain jobs stayed in Hershey. But anyway, the stock did go up on this news yesterday. So I thought it was interesting that the market took this one seriously. I didn't see any hard numbers about what the price would be, but the market, said there could be something there.
The market has spoken.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's happened. Like I said, it's happened before. I remember this going down in 2016, and there was an offer on the table, and Hershey rejected it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that again. Mondelez has tried on a number of occasions to make this happen. But look, we were talking about M&A deals. It's been a pretty quiet year and a pretty busy month, right? Post-election, from an M&A standpoint. So maybe more, maybe not. We'll see. We talked about Oracle, which got a hit on their report, down 8% this morning. Last I checked, don't know what it's down now. Dawson mentioned Vimeo, which I was on my radar as well. I was thinking about sniffing around there. Vimeo was that earnings for Vimeo? No, it was not.
What's the ticker symbol there?
VMEO. It's at a very interesting level here.
1.3
billion. It's now above that. Okay, I'm like an hour late to the party.
Up 12.5%, 786. Shout out Vimeo. Does Vimeo come out in the 2 to 100 club? Oh no, it's not big enough to the 2 to 100 club.
No. It's pretty small.
Yeah, it's just $1 billion. But look at that. Look at that stock coming out of the Andy Dufresne.
Yeah. Vimeo is interesting for sure.
I mean, this is Andy Dufresne 101, is it not?
Yeah.
Here, throw up the new slide 2 here. Tell me that's not the Andy Dufresne. Seems like that's just like the classic Andy Dufresne. Look at that. No?
I mean, yeah, it says it was a disaster. They rug pulled the IPO on this one.
They rug pulled the IPO. That's what happened.
Well, I mean, just look at it. This thing IPO'd in that post-COVID boom, right? They IPO'd in May of 21.
It IPO'd right in May of 2021 when the list of stocks on the New York Stock Exchange hitting new 52-week highs peaked.
Yeah.
So they literally IPO'd as the market internals were topping. So is it the company's fault or just that?
I mean, look, if you can get your IPO through the doors, you do it whenever you can. If you're a company, you take the chance to do it. So like credit to them. Yeah. And just because there's an IPO doesn't mean it's a good deal, right? And we've seen this with a lot of IPOs. Most IPOs actually trade below their opening and or offering price within the first year of their offering. Look, this is on my radar today for sure. I'm definitely gonna. I might.
Yeah, look at this. This thing's moving.
Yeah.
Traded.
You can't blame management for taking the money. I wouldn't, right? Sam is in the chat mentioning UNFI. I guess that's the Staples trade right there. But UNFI is up in their earnings report this morning, up 25%. It's got to be one of the biggest days for UNFI in a long time. Wow. Yeesh. All right. Well, I know we have Patrick waiting in the wings.
Yeah, bring him in.
Yep. All right. And he sent over a few charts to make sure they're on the deck. And we'll see. All right. Oh, no, Patrick. Where's my Patrick bumper? Where'd you go?
Come up.
There it is.
Hey, Pat.
Hey.
What's the best bagel in New York City?
Oh, man. You know, you would actually probably know better than I do. I wasn't a huge bagel guy.
Yeah, you're way too skinny. You need to start eating some bagels.
But I like the Andy Dufresne pattern. I like that a lot. A little Shawshank for you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had never really thought about it until I started hanging out with Kenny Glick every day. And man, now when I see it, I mean, because you have the Kardashian bottom and then you have the Andy Dufresne, and they're not the same. They're similar. They're like cousins to one another. They're reversal in nature. But the Andy Dufresne is like the Kardashian bottom, like shows strength. You know, there's more volatility. The Andy Dufresne is just down, dragging in the mud.
He just wants to get out of there.
Yeah, like Strazza says, they're all completing fresh reversals. Yeah.
But you know what's interesting about the Vimeo? I mean, that's a $1.3 billion company. And like YouTube was bought by Google for 1.6 back in the day. And that was like the best deal ever. maybe Instagram for 500 million. Maybe that was the other best deal. But I mean, I can't believe this thing has a $1.3 billion market cap. It should be way more, but
Should it? I mean, what does the company even do? Like, I know we use it like for like videos and
Can't you
stuff.
see someone paying more than 1.3 for that thing though? Like Google or competitor.
For Vimeo?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's okay. I was actually on a call with Vimeo yesterday about our account. So Sam is in the chat though, Patrick, and he wants you to talk to him about commodities.
Oh man, yeah, I brought that agricultural commodities chart. I know he's liking that one. But yeah, DBA, I mean, hard commodities haven't really been anything much this year, but soft commodities breaking out to a 10-year high last week. I mean, this thing, the whole commodity super cycle has kind of been put on hold this year, but in some areas of commodities, it certainly hasn't. This thing looks clear to 29. I like that because that's the 161.8 extension of that little base that it formed this year. And what is that? The highs from 2014 as well? Yeah.
What is
this
again?
the time? I mean, we're seeing the bond market putting inflation expectations at new lows. So it's interesting that the bond market pricing inflation lower, commodities trying to break out.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much of commodities. When we talk about commodities, I feel like it's so much centered around the energy commodities.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you look at DBC, that's mostly just crude oil and energy products. So those are hanging out at the lower end of the range, still kind of threatening to break that lower end of the range if we're talking about crude oil. But you have this whole side of the commodities complex that's just really working.
So then which ones are in this one?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. It's pretty
cocoa, coffee, live
pretty equally
cattle.
weighted. It's cocoa, coffee, live cattle, sugar, and corn are your top 5. But soybeans is 11%, wheat 11%.
Lean hogs. Shout out bacon.
Yeah, lean hogs 8%. It's pretty equally weighted.
Yeah.
How do you Spencer, how do you feel about putting bacon in your bagels?
Would you say putting bacon in the bagels?
Yeah.
Like in the dough?
No, like a sandwich.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh, so on the bagel, you mean?
Oh, in the bagel.
Yeah. BEC all day.
On the bagel, in the bagel. Are we gonna do this Manhattan Long Island thing?
BEC all day. I've never been an SPK guy. That's not for me. But,
wow, never been an SPK guy. I always have been. And hot sauce, salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce.
Not for me.
Oh yeah, you got to do the.
But I'd rather have a hard roll than the Kaiser than a bagel.
You'd rather have the roll. Yeah, it depends. It all depends.
The bagel's just too much. And I'm not one of these scoop it out kind of guys.
Oh God, no. It's a disaster, is what that is.
But I respect it because if you want to go hard roll and they're out of hard rolls, then you can get a scooped out bagel, and then you get the everything on top. So it's not terrible.
I don't know if I've ever had one. Pat, you sent over a couple other charts. What is this? You sent over?
Yeah, I sent over that breadth chart, that VXF. I brought that one up. I just thought it was interesting. You heard people talking about the boogeyman breadth last week again because you had just the magnificent 7 and pretty much nothing else last week. I mean, small caps kind of pulled back, but everybody keeps talking about breadth. It just seems like this bull market boogeyman for now. And you got the extended market here, which is basically the S&P 1500 minus the S&P 500. So the 1,000 next largest stocks after the S&P 500. The thing's breaking out of a 3-year base here, and it's just starting to go. So how bad is breadth really? I think we could see some serious expansion. And breadth has come such a long way this year that I don't think you want to be looking at it as a significant risk here.
I'm just not seeing breadth deterioration. I mean, you had 6 days in a row with more decliners and advancers. All right.
Right. After a huge push from small caps. So that was kind of more just like the I'm swinging back kind of thing.
What I look forward to, like there was the it's only 6 stocks that are going up, even though it wasn't. And then it
Right.
was like, oh, everything's going up except for those 6 stocks. So that's why the market's going to crash. And then it's going to be the 6 stocks again, or the 7 or the 10 or whatever it is that fits their narrative. And that's why the market's going to crash. Right.
Right.
I look forward to those. Those are great.
Yeah, and I like how you said it's only 6 stocks because they were leaving out Tesla for a while, but man, I have not
Now they're
seen
bringing
that
it back
Tesla
in because it
chart.
fits the narrative.
Right,
Right.
right. I
Throw
haven't seen
in
that
Eli
Tesla
Lilly
chart.
when it makes sense.
Right, right. That Tesla chart, man. That's a big base.
You think it's ready to go?
Look at Google today. Dear Lordy.
I think it's a matter of time, JC.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I said that the risk this summer when it was down at the lows, that the risk is that this becomes the biggest company in the world and you don't own enough. That was the risk. Well, I still think that is the risk. You know?
And Spencer, you mentioned
Mr.
Google
Spencer,
there.
shall we do a little recess? I got a few things.
Yeah, all right.
If you want to throw up slide 4, little extra beer money. I got Twitter sending me loot. About $2,000 I've made. I'm making about $1,000 a year. Do you think that is less than you expected me to make on Twitter, or more than you expected me to make on Twitter, or just about accurate?
That sounds about right. Actually, $1,000 a year in ad revenue for you. Yeah. That sounds about right for someone.
You think that's about right?
Yeah.
Seems about in line.
$2,000, about $1,000 a year. You don't think it's a little light?
What do you think?
I mean, it's free money, so like I'm not going to complain. Like, you know, what am I making? These days I'm making $40-50 a month or something like that. Like that's like an extra nice bottle of Bordeaux. I shouldn't say nice bottle of Bordeaux. An extra decent bottle of Bordeaux a month. I mean, to do nothing, I'll take
There
it.
you go.
I'll accept that bottle of Bordeaux.
That's your Wagyu money.
Well,
no.
all right.
I wish that's what Wagyu costs, but no. Wagyu's a little more. A decent Bordeaux. That's what that gets me.
No, I mean, that seems right based on what I know about Twitter ad impressions, and yeah, that seems right. What are you gonna do with that money?
I'm buying a decent bottle of Bordeaux.
There we go. All right.
Not that
Pat,
complicated.
what do you got? Pat, are we going on this basketball game in a week and a half?
I don't know. I'm going to the Cuse versus Albany game tonight. We'll see.
Wow. Big
Basketball team hasn't been
upstate New
great.
York rivalry up there.
Yeah, big one. No, we'll see. I mean, hopefully we can beat them. I feel like our football team got a little better, but our basketball team got a little worse. So, at what cost?
Right.
My recess was going to be my adventures last night in Meme Land, but I did, as a result of that, I had to sell some Solana on Spot.dog. So it's the first time in my life I've ever sold cryptocurrency. It was last night.
First time ever selling. Wow.
Yeah, I've never sold crypto before yesterday. So we'll see. I'll be monitoring my meme position throughout the day. Might go to zero on me, but whatever. All right. So what else is going on today? Today is
Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday? Yeah, all day, right?
All day.
Last I checked. All right. So we got the Flow Show at 1. We got Spaces, right, Pat, at 11.
Yes, sir.
And maybe if we're lucky, Kenny Glick will go live with the close for us and do some trading there. So could be fun. We'll see what happens. All right. That'll be it for us here today, unless Strazza wants to pop in with anything, but he's got some construction going on in his house, so he might not be around. Thanks Todd Sohn. Thanks chat for hanging out. Stand by for the daily charts. Going to send that out in a few minutes after this, and hit the like button and follow us on the socials. There
That
it
was
is.
great.
There is the calendar. There it is.
Come by Spaces later.
What's up?
Come by Spaces later.
Come by Spaces in like an hour. We'll see you there. Smash the like and go make some money. All right.
Adios. YOLO responsibly.
Run it. I can't take no loss.